Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to Celeb Source. It's the backup channel backing Celeb up and bringing you all the breaking news. Late rapper Tupac Shakur's stepfather, Mutulu Shakur, has been released from prison after more than 35 years behind bars. Mutulu was a freedom fighter with the Black Liberation Army and Republic of New Africa, and he was arrested in 1986 on RICO charges, armed bank robbery, and bank robbery moida. Mutulu was accused of leading revolutionaries in a series of armed robberies in Connecticut and New York. During one of the robberies, 3 people died, though Shakur's supporters say there is no evidence that he killed anyone. Mutulu was also convicted of aiding fellow Black Liberation Army activist Assata Shakur in her 1979 escape from a New Jersey prison. Now 72 years old, Shakur was given just months to live in late May after being diagnosed with terminal bone marrow cancer. After receiving this grave medical news, Shakur was nonetheless denied compassionate release in June. The Parole Commission finally granted a motion for his release in October, allowing him to live out his final days surrounded by family and friends. When the news of his release was announced on Twitter, many people reacted, and one person said, quote, "I was 16 years old walking through the streets of Oakland when I learned about this man being locked up. I am now 41. The black man in America's fight is long and never ending." End quote. You can say that again. Listen, I wasn't there when the Brinks trucks got robbed, so I don't know what Mutulu did and didn't do. What I do know is that the man has served his time and now he's sick. They have let him out and he should be able to rest peacefully with his family during his final days. And I already know there's somebody gonna come in the comments and they're gonna be like, yo, the people who died in the robbery didn't get to rest. Listen, I just said I don't know what he did and didn't do. The court system was a little funny in the 80s when Reagan was there. So sometimes, people got convicted and, the information in the trial was a little funny. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't know. All I know is he was released, he's sick, he's home. But as I'm telling this story, I'm thinking about back in the days when the U.S. had black revolutionaries. Oh my goodness. People like the Black Panther Party who were out there and they were doing community service. They were giving breakfast to the kids. They were giving free medical care to the people in the community who needed it most. They were policing the streets to make sure things like the George Floyd incident did not take place. We need to get back to that. We need to start raising up young black revolutionaries that grow up to be mature men and women revolutionaries. So maybe instead of just getting the kids Roblox for Christmas, throw in a book by like a John Henrik Clarke. Introduce them to Du Bois. Give them a little Garvey. You know what I'm saying? We gotta enlighten these kids, because it's a problem when they can recite every Drizzy Drake lyric, but they think that the Underground Railroad was an actual train. Now, while we're on the subject of educating our kids, let's talk about Sowite. Sowite has launched a financial literacy course called the Icy Baby Foundation, aimed at teaching our kids between the ages of 7 and 17 financial smarts. When speaking about her initiative, Sowite said, quote, "I want to continue using my foundation and resources to financially empower young children and students, especially in Black and Brown communities. The long-term goal for the Icy Baby Foundation is to increase financial literacy amongst kids and propel them to brighter futures." End quote. Kids who take part in the course will receive a funded debit card as well as educational resources on everything from saving and budgeting to general financial planning. Sowite said, quote, "The reason why I'm so sensitive to that is because I need help my darn self. Just putting money in the savings account is not enough, especially not enough to create generational wealth for you, your family, or your kids. It's important that we educate these young kids so that it's something that's instilled into their minds. So it's not something that they're trying to figure out as an adult." End quote. Okay, I like it, okay? I was hard on Sowite last week because of the album sales, but this is something good for the community. First you got Snoop and Master P with the Snoop Loops, and now you got Sowite coming through with the financial literacy. I love it. Listen, I wish I'd have spent a little bit more time thinking about financial literacy when I was younger, because when I think about all the money that I spent on sneakers, I could have been a bazillionaire by now. But instead, all I'm left with is a whole bunch of empty Nike and Adidas boxes. I should have spent less time on StockX and more time looking at that stock market. Well, while we're talking about financial literacy, we might as well talk about it. A whole bunch of these young rappers have a whole lot of cash, but they seem to be dying early. And what they don't have are wills. So the families start fighting back and forth, similar to the situation that's going on with Takeoff right now. One family member's like, I want the cash. Another one's like, I want the cash. And it turns into a whole big, hot mess. Let's look at some of the rappers who passed away and see what happened to their dough after they died. When the notorious B.I.G. died in 1997, he was only 24 years old. However, he was worth $10 million. And according to reports, he didn't leave none of those dollars to Faith Evans. Instead, he split his dough between his sister and his son. But as we all know, Biggie's biggest asset was really his brand and his legacy. And since his death, Biggie's mother, Valetta Wallace, has been in charge of his estate, including his music and his life story. Now, Tupac Shakur was murdered in 1996, yet his music and likeness are still everywhere because his mother, Afeni Shakur, took control of her son's estate after he died. Tupac was 25 when he was murdered, and he did not leave a will. However, it doesn't end there. More than 2 decades after his death, Tupac's estate was still fighting in court, finally winning a lawsuit over his unreleased music that had been going on for 5 years in 2018. The court battle took so long that his mother, Afeni Shakur, died halfway through the lawsuit, yet it kept going on. After Afeni's death, a man named Tom Wally was given control of Tupac's estate. He had actually signed Tupac to his first major record deal in the 1990s, and the family knew him pretty well, and he helped the mother with the estate before she died. However, in 2022, Wally was sued by Tupac's sister, Sakiwa Shakur. In her lawsuit, she claimed, quote, Wally has already received more than $5.5 million that he has paid himself in the last 5 years. He has effectively embezzled millions of dollars for his own benefit, well in excess of what would be reasonably necessary to retain a properly qualified third party to perform such services, end quote. Now, unlike Tupac, Mac Miller seems to have had his affairs in order. As you know, Mac Miller died of a drug overdose in 2018 at the age of 26. And while the world was shocked and saddened by his untimely death, Mac seemed to be pretty prepared for the possibility that he might not be around for very long. The rapper, who often talked about his substance abuse issues and the possibility of them killing him in his lyrics, put his will or trust together in 2013 at the age of 21. This meant that even though his death was sudden and untimely, he left very detailed instructions behind as to what was supposed to happen with his dough. As he had no children, he left most of his $11.3 million estate to his parents or his brother if his parents were to predecease him. But he didn't forget others who were close to him, and according to reports, Miller included lists of valuable things that he owned, including jewelry, musical instruments, and even his furniture, and made it very clear which friends those things were to go to. On the opposite end of the spectrum, when DMX died in 2021, he had a whole gang of problems because he didn't leave a will, and usually when you don't leave a will, the money goes to your kids, right? But the issue with DMX is nobody could figure out how many kids DMX had. 6 months after DMX died, alleged children were still coming out of the woodworks to bring the total to about 15. The Trust and Estates attorney Herbert Nass said, quote, the next big thing is to determine who are the rightful heirs. The estate is going to ask everyone to prove paternity through DNA testing, end quote. Now, DMX's estate was only worth about $1 million, and some people even say he was in debt, but that's not really what the kids would be getting. living. They would be getting his assets and his legacy that could be worth a lot of money in the future. Now, check this out. XXX Tentacion was super young when he died, but that didn't stop him from making his will when he was 20. XXX, aka Jase Onfroy, had gotten his affairs in order the year before he died in 2018, which some say showed that he felt that the end was near. However, even though it was a matter of months between the time of him writing his will and the time that he was moited, XXX had a big life change that affected his estate because, as you know, he had gotten his girlfriend pregnant. This meant the child was not named in the will, and everything was supposed to go to the mother and the brothers. But despite this fact, the family worked it out, and a trust was set up for the child in 2020. And while we're on the subject of kids, when Nipsey Hussle was moited in 2019 at the age of just 33, he left behind 2 young children with Lauren London. And although nobody saw his death coming, Nipsey was a smart businessman who was ready for anything. And before he died, Nipsey already set up trust funds for his children. According to the court, Nipsey's brother serves as the executor of his estate, and his 2 kids split his assets, which are currently valuated at $4.4 million. And last but not least, we've got Juice WRLD. We all know that Juice WRLD died of an overdose and his death was untimely. And when he died, he was worth a lot of money. Not only did he have $1 million just sitting in the bank, right, but he was worth over $4 million with regard to his assets. And on top of that, he still has thousands of songs sitting in the vault, okay? It appears too that Juice WRLD died without making a will, but with very few close relatives, it was his mother that was granted the administration of the estate. And you know what? It seems like she's gonna have a lot to deal with because his net worth seems to be going up after his death. And according to Celebrity Net Worth reports, Juice WRLD is the 7th highest earning dead celebrity. That is crazy. Listen, I wish these young guys would have been around long enough to enjoy all of their wealth and assets. But this just goes to show you got to take care of business while you're alive. And don't be like Snoop, who, like, when he was asked about his estate, he was like, quote, "I don't give a F when I'm dead. What I'm gonna give a F about? This going on while I'm gone, you know?" End quote. Yo, Snoop is an idiot. And really quick, let's get in a People versus Tory Lanez update. As of Friday, the state was able to get in Kelsey's original conversation with the cops that took place in September, in which she did in fact say that Tory shot Megan. And at first, when this chick got up on the stand and she started talking about she pleads the fifth and she doesn't remember anything, we were all scratching our heads because we were like, what is up with that? And we thought maybe she was suffering from SCS, salty chick syndrome, because Megan had smashed all the same dudes that she smashed. But now we have some new information. Apparently, Kelsey is married to a major executive at 1501 Certified Entertainment, in which Megan Thee Stallion is currently embroiled in a legal battle with. This means Kelsey's husband is the ops. The speculative post circulating on social media said, quote, "I think it's important to note and could further explain Kelsey's reluctance and bad memory on the stand. Kelsey's husband works for 1501 with Carl Crawford and Jay Prince and is currently Erica Banks' manager, the very same label that has been at legal odds with Meg." End quote. Listen, this is a serious conflict of interest, and I don't think we can trust not a thing that Kelsey says, because I think her loyalty is going to go wherever her bread is being buttered. Listen, this trial is a hot mess and a waste of taxpayers' dollars. There's only one good thing that can be learned from this case, and that is GYOD. Get your own dude. Young girls, you should never be sleeping with the same dudes that your friend is sleeping with. Once they messed with him, that dude is off limits. You gotta understand girl code, and you can never violate the girl code. You can't be that hot in the pants. Now, while we're talking about people breaking code, let's discuss your boy Gunna. Gunna has been the talk of the town ever since he accepted that plea deal. And now, DJ Vlad has weighed in. DJ Vlad rattled off a series of social media posts which said, quote, "Here's my take on Gunna. In exchange for getting out, he confirmed YSL is a criminal gang and said he was in a car with Young Thug when they found drugs and guns, and they didn't belong to him. This will likely be used by the DA to convict other YSL members." DJ Vlad continued on to say, quote, "Having one of the top guys in the organization confirm YSL is a gang and that he saw members commit crimes will probably be one of the main points for the DA to prove the overall RICO and charge one person for other people's crimes." When he said that he was in the car with Young Thug and the guns and drugs weren't his, the DA is one step closer to proving that they belong to Thug. The DA probably has a reason for having him mention this part. Little Duval tweeted, "Nobody should pin snitch on Gunna unless Thug say it, but until Thug is either free or sentenced, he can't speak on Gunna because that will be witness intimidation since Gunna is now a witness on record in Thug's RICO case." End quote. In response to Vlad's post, one person on social media wrote, quote, "He cooperated. It's on tape. Doesn't matter what you classify it as. He helped strengthen a case against Thug, period. In my day, there were consequences for such behavior. In today's world, it'll be forgotten the minute he releases another hit." End quote. Sounds like what he's saying is a snitch if they snitch. Now, is he right? Will everybody forget about what Gunna did as soon as he releases a new hot song? Or is Little Duval right? We shouldn't be calling him a snitch if Thug doesn't call him a snitch. Or, is everybody going down because of what Gunna did? Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh my goodness, we just got some new breaking news in. This case is turning into like an episode of The Twilight Zone. After the tweets that Vlad made, Gunna's lawyer, Steve Sadow, contacted Vlad TV to address the statements about his client. Gunna's lawyer, Steve Sadow, exclusively told Vlad TV, quote, "In the statement that Gunna made in court, he acknowledged what he had to, but none of his statements are admissible against others in this case. The state is not permitted to use out-of-court statements as evidence in the RICO case. The state will not call him as a witness because he will use his Fifth Amendment. This neutralized Gunna to keep him out of the case. He is no longer part of this case." End quote. Yo, why is Gunna's attorney contacting Vlad TV to even explain anything? Like, who the heck is Vlad? And why is Gunna's attorney trying to play the cleanup man so that his client doesn't get perceived as a snitch? This is crazy. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking like they might not have had as much on Gunna as he thought they had. And they put him in one of those little rooms and they hit him with the good cop, bad cop. And he folded like one of those patio tables that you get from Target. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, yo, it seems like Young Thug cannot get a break. According to reports, Young Thug's hearing was interrupted by hackers who decided to play an adult film on the court monitors. In the middle of Young Thug's hearing, which was taking place over Zoom, everybody, including Young Thug, was shocked and confused when a graphic adult film featuring a completely naked man suddenly popped up on the court's monitors. Courtroom attendees quickly started to shuffle around and try to shut off the video, but it took a couple of seconds for the clip to stop playing. However, following the unexpected incident, the hearing was reportedly able to continue without further incident. Yo, who is the person who's like sitting at home and is like, yo, I'm getting ready to interrupt this court hearing. I'm getting ready to throw this XXX video up here. Like, you don't have nothing. You don't have nothing better to do. You don't have nothing better to do. That's crazy. Now, speaking about somebody who has actually nothing better to do, a representative from the Chicago Sun-Times said it received a message from convicted sex predator R. Kelly through an email service for federal inmates. And Kelly's defense attorney has confirmed that this looks like an authentic letter from Kells, but she added that it was most likely typed by someone else. She said, quote, "He has people inside who he dictates to. That's how he writes me all the time," end quote. In the full message that he sent to the Sun-Times, R. Kelly says, quote, "Leave my music alone. They already got me in here. They took my voice. They messed my whole career up. They took all my money. They took my kids away from me. They took me from my family, my friends, and all my fans. I have had all my emails and phone calls stolen and shared with government witnesses and God knows who else. I have gotten tuberculosis while being in here. I've gotten COVID twice while being in here. I have been diagnosed with diabetes while being in here. I have had 2 surgeries while being in here. I have gotten attacked while I was sleeping and had my rib cracked and my jaw fractured while being in here. I have been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder while being in here. I wish they would just leave my music alone because it's all that I have left and it's all that my fans have left. And they deserve to be able to listen to the music despite what people try and say about me, what they think about me, or even do to me," end quote. Oh my goodness. Listen, I know that R. Kelly can't read or write, so I'm gonna need somebody to go get a dictionary and I want you to read a definition to him. A definition for personal accountability. They ain't do nothing to you, bruh. You did it to yourself. You shouldn't have been out there pushing up on little girls, okay? You should have been dating women your own age, and when you got a woman your own age, you should have treated her right. Look, nobody has any sympathy for you, and I'm so tired of this dude. Oh my goodness. They didn't do anything to him. He did it to himself. But he doesn't appear to get it. And on the real, I really hope that somebody's playing games and R. Kelly is really not the one sending this crap out. Because if it is, this dude is dumb as doornails. Listen, I want to switch it up and I want to talk about something positive. I want to give a shout out and congratulations to my man, Chris Paul. Several years after leaving Winston-Salem State University to go to the NBA, where he has become one of the greatest point guards in the game, Chris Paul has finally finished up his college degree. He recently completed his coursework and graduated from Winston-Salem State University with the class of December 2022. During the graduation ceremony, Chris Paul also gave every graduate $2,500. He's doing this by helping each WSSU graduate fund their Greenwood banking accounts by depositing $100 into their accounts and covering the $200 per month membership for Elevate for a full year. In total, this adds up to $2,500 for each WSU December 2022 graduate. Hey yo, I think that is wonderful that Chris Paul is doing that, and I'm sure each of those graduates appreciate it because listen, paying back those college bills is no joke, especially when you're just starting out. And I gotta say, I'm so proud of these artists like Missy, like Kyrie, like Chris Paul, who are paying it forward because they serve as an example to us because in our own small little ways, even though we're not millionaires, most of us, we can still do small things to help out our neighbors, and I'm sure it will be appreciated, especially around the holidays. A lot of times, we keep ourselves from doing things because unless we can do that big grand gesture, we think we shouldn't do anything at all. But sometimes it's the small things that count. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to Celeb Source, your source for celebrity news. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Peace.